Hey, Tatooine Sons family, this is David. Welcome to another one of these shorter episodes of the podcast. We're back with Pete from Streaming Star Wars and Lucas from The Reverend and the Reprobate, and they're here to talk a little bit more about Clone Force 99. In episodes 1 and 2 of this second season here, there's kind of a sharp disagreement going on between Hunter and Echo specifically on how they should proceed following the events of the finale in season 1 at Kamino. Hunter kind of feels like they need to lay low and make some money doing some side jobs and just hide from the Empire, while Echo on the other side of that really sees this as a kind of an unjust approach. And he keeps trying to convince Hunter and the rest of the team to get into the fight. So as we watch this episode, the fulcrum of all of that seems to center on keeping Omega safe. So I asked Lucas and Pete who they think is right, Hunter or Echo. Going here.
Let's do it.
So let's talk a little bit more about this base thing.
Oh, here we go.
The base.
The base.
I've got Meghan Trainor in my head right now.
Oh yeah, it is all
really
about that bass.
Yeah, I'm really like I need to figure out how to get it out. But anyway, what's the coolest moment? I'll start with you, Lucas, on this one. What's kind of the coolest moment that you've ever had playing bass or the bass?
Yeah. So, man, there are a handful to choose from. I got to play in a couple of different stadiums, which was really awesome. I got to play at Texas Motor Speedway before a race. So it was really cool. But I think the best was we used to have in Dallas, because Dallas has a really cool music scene all throughout like the Deep Ellum area, and the Dallas Observer and a magazine called Quick, which was also owned by the Dallas Morning News, used to get together and they would do these award shows every year for the local musicians. And whenever I was 19, I won. Was it 19? No, it was 17. I won Bassist of the Year for new acts in Dallas,
wow.
And that was a pretty high moment. So yeah, so just like Uncle Rico, I peaked in high school, and I'm looking forward to whatever the next thing is. Yeah,
and if the coach would just put, if you could go back in time, the coach would put you in, you'd win the championship.
If only they would have known. If they would have really just signed me to that record label, then now I'd be Meghan Trainor would be writing my songs. Yeah.
There you go. That's so funny because I know that Sam and Nathan would have absolutely no idea what we were just talking about. All right. They've never seen Napoleon Dynamite. But anyway, Pete.
How could they not see Napoleon Dynamite?
I don't know. I hate that movie. That's why.
That could be it.
Yeah. So talk to me, Pete. Coolest moment you've had playing bass.
I don't know. I mean, like I didn't win any awards. I haven't played any stadiums. You know, I think it's recently I'll just think of the most recent fun experience. We played at the Hambletonian race, horse race at the Meadowlands, and we played a full day. We were on a nice, beautiful, big stage, thousands of people walking by all day, and just I think at this point in my bass playing career, I just enjoy a fun day of playing where people are enjoying what you're doing, and so that's what I would put there. I mean, I've been very lucky. 8 out of 10 bands I've been in have been with this guy who got me started when I was a kid, because we've been best friends since we were in 4th grade. So I've reached the point in my bar band bass career to recognize that it's more important to be playing with people you like to play with than playing. I mean, honestly, if I look at the playlist of songs we play, I would turn most of them off on the radio, but they're just fun. People like to listen to them at bars. And so if people are dancing and having fun at the horse race or the bar we're playing or wherever we happen to be, that's just a good time for me.
That's cool. But you know what? You also, you have this relationship with your band, but then you have this conflicting relationship with Star Wars, and it hit like into a collision at Podathon last year, didn't it? You were supposed to do a gig with your band, and you had Podathon the same day, and you had to turn down one.
We had turned down a big gig. Yeah, but you know what? Charity and Star Wars beat bass playing at this point.
How much was raised? It was like over almost $17,000.
We raised $17,000 last year. Cool. Yeah.
That's so cool.
We're already thinking about 23.
Yeah, there's a lot of plan. I know that it's a huge deal that you guys have spent a ton of time working on. It's pretty awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the conflict that's sort of brewing underneath the surface, especially in these first 2 episodes here. You know, it's called Star Wars. We obviously don't like the Empire. We love the rebellion, and so everybody wants to see the Bad Batch kind of in the fight, taking out the bad guys, winning the day. And so that means, when we see Echo as the voice of justice right now, he's trying to get Hunter and the rest of the Bad Batch to kind of leave their mercenary ways, get into the fight, which is awesome. But then you have Hunter on the other side of this, especially these last two episodes, who seems to feel, I feel like, more fatherly when it comes to Omega. And he really wants to keep her safe with that. As dads, all of us can relate to what Hunter's going through on this. So my question was, and I'll start with you, Lucas, on this one. Who's right, Echo or Hunter?
Both. They're both right. And the reason is because, Echo understands what it was like to be tortured and what everyone that, could potentially be subject to the Empire has the potential to go through. Like he completely understands that firsthand, and that's why he's trying to get them to do something, to be part of something bigger, I think. But you, even in the midst of those struggles and things, you have to look out for the people that you are given, I guess, the privilege and the responsibility to protect, to care for, and all of those kind of things. I mean, just if you were to look at a lot of the things that we watch on TV, right? Some of them are super entertaining, some of them are great, and some of them are things that we love, and it's not wrong to love them, but it would be, for a lot of us, it would be wrong for us to let our little kids watch them. There are things that are on television at certain times where we would be like, I don't want my kid watching this, or maybe one of these days, we can watch it together. And those things happen. So I think that they're both right. There's not a wrong idea in Echo's mind to get them to drop it and to fight for something bigger, and there's nothing wrong for Hunter in wanting to protect Omega, but they're going to have to figure out where, not only the two of them come together, but also how to help her find her place in all this as she grows and matures.
It's funny, you talk about how with our kids, there's things we won't watch, and then things maybe later on that we would watch. We're experiencing that right now, right? I'm experiencing that. You aren't. You're
right. Yeah.
Child,
no.
Your child doesn't watch TV.
No,
he's too young.
No.
But
he cries a lot.
Yeah, that's true. I heard it. It was funny. I was talking about being a dad, and then I heard the crying in the background.
Oh yeah,
I was
he's in the background for sure.
I was like, I didn't even have to do a sound effect.
Yeah, no, not at all. Yep.
It was awesome. I remember when we first started the podcast, having conversations. I was a guest on a roundtable with the Star Wars Commonwealth, and they were talking about, should there ever be an R-rated Star Wars, right? And I was adamant, never, no. And I still am when it comes to Star Wars. I'm not a let's go R, but I use the idea of there are shows in Marvel that we can't watch as a family, like Daredevil and those types of things, because and that causes us to miss out on the experience. And now it's like Nathan's favorite piece of media in the that he's ever seen is Daredevil, right? And so it's interesting to see that. Pete, what do you think? Is there a right side to this argument between Hunter and Echo, or is it that nuanced balance of the Force type thing?
I think that's what makes the Bad Batch so good together, and it's it's a life lesson that you get when you get to a bit of maturity. I was going to say to our ages, but I'm older than all you guys. But you've all seen it in your jobs, right? I think the most important lesson I ever learned as a leader in some of the organizations I've been in is surround yourself with people who can do things that you can't, to achieve the goal. And I think in this case, not to rip you off there, Lucas, but they are both right. In order for Hunter to be able to protect Omega, they have to defeat the Empire. Otherwise, she'll never have the life that he wants for her. On the other hand, and it's very similar to the Grogu Din Djarin relationship. Din is inadvertently teaching Grogu some really bad lessons, right? How to manage a situation with violence. And it's interesting to watch Hunter. And I think in this episode, it was great when they were about to start the heist. They were entering. They had just landed on Sereno, and it was the first time he said, "Are you coming?" Versus, you stay behind at the ship, you wait here, we'll be back. So she's part of the team. The question is, what is she going to learn as a result of being part of the team as they work together to create a world that's better for her, right? And that's the great thing about the show is it takes, again, as I said before, it takes that big picture and it brings it down to a small size. And Hunter's fighting for her world, and in order to do that, Echo and his perspective needs to be addressed. And so, but together as a team, how can they do that? And so interesting. What I got from this episode, these two episodes too, was it's the first time we've seen anybody other than Hunter sort of be a father figure to her, and I think that's the whole crew is going to work. I think Wrecker's still just going to be, I think might have even been on your show, David, where he's kind of the crazy uncle, but he's definitely right. He's nurturing. They're all nurturing with their own expertise, which again, I think when you look at family, which is that common theme around Star Wars, you learn good things and bad things from your family, and it's how you sort of guide your children through that to make those decisions.
One of the things that I love so much about Star Wars is that it's comfortable playing in the gray area. Pete and Lucas kind of both point this out in the conflict between Echo and Hunter, because it's not simply a choice between right or wrong. Both of them, the characters, are convinced that they're doing what's best for both the team and specifically for Omega, and that conflict is seen in that. It's really easy for us to manage those disagreements when the choice is obvious. But when it gets complicated, like in this series and in these episodes, we're forced to take some time to step back and really hear the other side's perspective on it. I want to thank you so much for watching or listening to this episode of Tatooine Sons. This is just a small part of the conversation that we had with Lucas and Pete. We had another episode that already released. We've got a few more that are coming up here in the next few days. Make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast or the channel, I guess. I've got to get used to this video thing so that you don't miss any of those. And then make sure you check out Pete on Streaming Star Wars and Lucas on The Reverend and the Reprobate. You're going to have a good time listening to them and hearing their insights. They're both all over Facebook and YouTube and all of the other podcast apps. So make sure you check those out. And then make sure you follow us on all of the socials. We're Tatooine Sons. That's Sons with an O in the middle of it. And of course, as always,
may the Force be with you.